Welcome back to another episode of Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services, Cottonwood Parks and Recreation, and Gettles High Desert Mechanical. I'm your host, Philip Catafamo. We have got a great show in store for you this week. Later in the program, we'll be joined by Camp Verde High School football coach Rick Walsworth. He'll break down how he utilizes players in his offensive scheme, talk about the development of the run game, and what the team has to do to get a win against Kingman Academy on Friday. We'll then be joined by Coconino High School golf coach Langley Martin. She'll discuss playing Division I golf at Troy University, how she prepares her team for multi-team meets, and update us on the season so far. But on the other side of this break, we'll be joined by Coconino High School girls volleyball coach Serena Wallace. She'll talk about the start of the season so far, what area she would like to see her team improve in, and preview the rest of the schedule. All of that and a whole lot more coming up right here on Off the Bench. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle. Get Gettles.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Gettles High Desert Mechanical. I'm your host, Philip Catafamo, and I am joined by Coconino High School girls volleyball coach Serena Wallace. Coach Wallace, welcome back onto the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, the season is underway as the Panthers and the entire 4A Grand Canyon region have been playing games for a little while now. We are maybe a little over a month into the season so far. But, Coach, I want to ask, you got a couple games under your belt. How's it feel to get back out on the court?
It feels really good, and it feels really good to have a little bit of normalcy with stands filled and just a lot more open and a lot more support from the school because we're all in school, and being able to see kids, even just walking through the hallways, seeing people I don't know, is just nice to have a little bit of normal back.
Can we talk a little bit about that? You said fans being back into the stands and rooting on the Panthers a little bit more. How does the atmosphere at the home gym feel now that you guys are getting to play in front of crowds? And I'll even take that a step further and put that in as well as when you guys are on the road playing against a lot of crowds. I mean, how does that kind of change the atmosphere for your team when you guys are getting ready to play?
I think especially for me, I've always been this way though. Even as an athlete, I kind of zone in and I don't hear much of what's going on there. I can hear them chanting in the background. I don't know what they're saying. I'm just so focused. So for me, I would say there's definitely a level of energy that it brings. Although I'm not totally tuned into what's going on in the stands, I definitely know it impacts the girls, and it's really nice for them to be able to have friends come and support them, family come and support them. And even family, we had a girl's grandmother from Phoenix come last night to join us at the Saguaro game. So it's definitely nice for everyone to be able to come and support each other. And there's just family is so important and friends are so important. And I know we all probably feel that way after these past years. So
yeah, very much so. And how cool that, you guys were playing in the right spot and that player got a chance to, the grandparent got a chance to come and watch the game. That's very, very cool. But yes, you were so right. We definitely need a little bit more of that camaraderie and that family feel now since, 2020 kind of separated all of us. We're slowly starting to work our way back in. But Coach, like I mentioned, we're a few seasons in so far to the season. What have you liked from your team so far?
I'm definitely excited to see the growth, the potential for growth. I think that it's been a little bit of a tough start. and just figuring out who's going to fill what role, whether it's a leadership role or a skill role. Either way, just kind of looking for people to step up into those roles. And I think it's been a little bit of a slow process so far, but I'm seeing people start stepping up. So that's exciting to see.
That's good. And then, Coach, what can you attribute to sort of that slow start? I mean, is it just, just kind of getting back into the rhythm of volleyball, just getting back in front of that home crowd? Or what kind of attributed to that?
I would say losing 8 seniors last year really
That'll hurt.
Hit us. Yeah. And I think it hit us in ways that maybe the girls didn't expect. Just in as far as leadership goes, we had some pretty solid leaders in those seniors. And so maybe not even understanding or realizing that they were filling those roles because they were doing it so well. So just learning, what it is to be a leader and how to take that in a way that's positive but also stern. And so just them learning that has been a little bit tough. I can see it's been tough on them, but like I said, I've seen a few girls kind of stepping into those roles. So it's kind of exciting and it's fun to see them realize that that's what we need and to be that person.
Well, this season you do, of course, welcome back in a lot of returners. We talked about it during the off season, the returners you had and also some of the new faces. I'm going to call it your big 3. You've got 2 seniors in Sierra Durr and Reese Dobosh, and also junior Hope Williamson. Your big 3, your kills leaders. What have you liked from that little group?
So that's it. Yeah, I mean, they definitely are a huge part of our team. Hope is always solid. I think she's definitely starting to step into a leadership role that maybe she didn't understand how to fill, but I think she's starting to see how she needs to. Reese actually took a year off last year. She wasn't a part of the program last year. So I think that has hurt her, but I would say she's definitely grown a lot in the little bit of time that she's been back. So I'm excited to see her, and she's honestly one of our most consistent hitters. I can always count on her. It might not always be down, but it's consistent. It's smart. And then Sierra Durr is great. She's definitely stepped up as well. I'm really excited for her. She played club these last couple seasons, and I think that definitely helped her because I think she started a little bit late in the volleyball world. So she's definitely still growing, and that's exciting to see from a senior. And then one that you forgot is Elise Palmer.
Well, you kind of beat me to the question, Coach. We were going to transition a little bit to your other seniors. And in fact, I'll just cut you off and we'll jump right into it. Sure. You mentioned it, Elise Palmer, another senior, of course, along with Hannah Cody, both playing very well right now. Elise Palmer leading in digs. So yeah, let's keep talking about that senior group. Please take it away.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I guess I'll start with Hannah Cody because she's actually filling a middle role this year. And I think we both might have been a little bit surprised by that, but every time we'd run a drill, she'd throw herself in the middle. And I was like, okay, we'll see what you have. Cause I've always seen her as an outside. She's honestly done really great things. She's been super coachable. Everything that I say, she's been applying. I think at first it was a little bit slow, but now she's really held on to the things that I've said. So that's really exciting to see her progress that way. Like I said, seniors improving is amazing. And it's not that a senior can't improve. It's just at that point, how much are they willing to put in? It's their last season, that kind of thing. So I think I'm really blessed with some really great seniors. And then Elise Palmer, she's always been a stud for me. That girl she can, in middle of the play, look at somebody and tell whether they're going to go for the ball or not, and then go get the ball. She's just super fast, crazy athletic. She really has been, she's just such a solid player for us. Our serve receive depends on her. Our defense depends on her. I mean, if she wasn't here, we'd be a whole different team. So I would say she's another one of our leaders that has stepped up kind of on the court. She's really sweet. She's the sweetest person I know, which is great. But in a competitive world, competitive volleyball, it's a little bit different. So it's nice to see that side kind of step up and in leadership. So yeah, I'm really happy and pleased with the seniors that I have.
Taking a look, of course, at the roster, of course, this team doesn't just consist of seniors. You've also got a mix of juniors and sophomores as well. And one freshman in Brooklyn J. She is the lone freshman on the varsity roster this season. I want to make that very clear. What does she bring to the table, and what kind of gave you the indication that she was ready to start at the varsity level or participate at the varsity level?
Yeah, so actually I have two freshmen.
Oh.
I have Laurel Sternhouse and Brooklyn J. And both of them, their knowledge of the game is definitely higher. I mean, they're still freshmen, so they're still going to make freshman mistakes. But during tryouts, it was that like push and pull of, do I pull them up? Are they going to play? Because I don't want to pull somebody up to varsity and then have them sit, because I think that's more detrimental to them than just playing all the time on JV. Right. And so Laurel, she's a middle, but she does not have a middle mentality. Most middles, they see something going on, they're kind of like, looking to somebody else to take care of it. She goes for everything. She touches everything. And so I really love that about her. She just, she's been incredible to watch. She's always good to watch. She learns so fast. She's very intentional. She is a freshman. She's kind of wild sometimes. My husband's actually been helping me. And one of the notes that he wrote on one of the games that we played was play more like Laurel, just because she just doesn't think, she just goes for the ball. And that's just what we need sometimes. So it's been really nice to have her. And then Brooklyn, she is a powerhouse. I would be worried about her if I was other people. Like, at this point, like I'm saying, they're freshmen, so they do make freshman mistakes. But honestly, I know that going into the game. And when it happens, I'm just like, well, yeah, they're a freshman. I expect that error. But man, Brooklyn, when she contacts the ball, she'll be the next Rakenna Curtis, if not better. Yeah.
Yeah. A real high honor right there to compare her with Rakenna, because Rakenna Curtis had a nice tenure with Coconino High School girls volleyball.
Yes. And Rakenna was obviously more seasoned by the time she was a senior. She played all the way around. She could pass the ball. She could do everything. So we're definitely still working on Brooklyn to be able to do everything. But as far as the front row presence that she has right now, she's definitely one to look for. And I'm excited for everyone to see her play.
Well, and of course, Coach, you've got two building blocks right there that you can continue your program with. I mean, of course, you'll get, Hope Williamson back and a lot of your other juniors and sophomores. And we'll talk about the JV team here in a second. But what great building blocks for you going forward to continue to build this program. I know you took over a couple of years ago, so you're still continuing the, your group of freshmen or your group of sophomores are still continuing through the program. So, very exciting indeed, Coach. And again, we are speaking with Coconino High School girls volleyball coach Serena Wallace. Coach, I mentioned the JV team, a lot of experience on the JV team, a lot of juniors on the roster. How does their experience kind of help those newcomers who are new to the sport?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for JV and freshmen. We definitely have some solid juniors, and then it's always the tricky thing of like, hey, how do you have freshmen on the varsity team, but do you have juniors on the JV team? And I would just say it really comes down to position. I'm not going to pull 10 defensive specialists up to varsity when, we have Elise Palmer, who has just been kicking butt from the beginning. So I would say that was a huge part in it. And, but I'm definitely excited to see those juniors. Sierra Durr, she was sadly to her on JV last year, but I don't think that she would be the leader that she is for us today if she wasn't, because she probably would have sat the bench a whole lot last year if she was on varsity. So I'm really excited that we made that choice, because I think it was the best for her and for us in the long run. So I'm hoping that some of these juniors that are getting a lot of playing time will, next year be able to be the same as what she is for us this year.
Yeah, providing a lot more depth, of course, for next season as well, gives you an opportunity to sort of, make the decisions like you made this year, where you've got a few juniors on the JV team. You're just kind of letting them wait in the wings. You've already seen the progress with Sierra Durr. Like you said, she was more of a JV player last year, gave her an opportunity to find a voice. now on the varsity team, she has come alive and really been one of the key contributors for the Panthers this season. Coach, looking forward onto the season, is there an area you would like to see this team improve in?
Oh gosh, there are many areas. Honestly, if we can just be consistent, if they can be consistent, then I can know how to effectively place them on the court. There's been a lot of inconsistencies. And so there's been a lot of moving the lineup and changing the lineup. And I'm really excited for this coming weekend and the tournament because there's just going to be a lot of play and we can kind of play with things. And, it's kind of silly. Like I feel silly saying that so far into the season, but really it's just been a struggle, especially with a younger team. Like you're saying, I mean, last night, both my freshmen played, all 3 sets were starting. And so, that's a decision that I've made, and I'm really excited for them, and I'm definitely hopeful in them, but it does create challenges. Like I said, I've been hoping and excited for somebody to step up into the leadership role, somebody to step up and lead us in kills and, all that. So I'm looking forward to consistency from my team. We talk about it all the time. And I think, I have a really, really sweet team, kind team. Like they're amazing girls. They really care for each other. I think they really care for me. And I think that makes it hard because they think they've let me down instead of just being free to play. And so, just trying to establish you should feel free to play on the court. We practice, we do all these things now. Get on the court, be ready to just rip a ball. Don't feel like you can't, And so just kind of establishing that culture. And I think it will come, like you're saying, this is only the 3rd year. And last year was rough on us. I mean, like we talked about, there was only 36, 40 girls that tried out. And that really killed us because we didn't have a whole lot of freshmen come in. Mm-hmm. Whereas this year we have 18 freshmen throughout all 3 levels. And so that's super encouraging. I mean, if we can get a couple of years like that, then we're going to have the talent and we're going to be able to move and place girls based on skill and based on, position versus just age. So I'm definitely excited for the future and excited for all of those 18 girls. I mean, they all have a lot of potential and it's been exciting to help coach them as well.
Well, it's great, Coach. It seems like you are, like you mentioned, establishing that culture, establishing, sort of what Coconino girls volleyball looks like throughout the entire 4A Grand Canyon region. And of course, you talk about some of those other issues from last year. Let's talk about we don't have to talk about it, but just want to mention, of course, the end of your guys' season was also very hectic. Of course, the COVID positive case comes up and, you guys had to finish almost 2 weeks of a schedule in 1 week and, you got the season done. But like you said, and it seems to be a common theme from most of the coaches that I've spoken to, which is in 2020, there weren't a whole lot of kids coming out. But here in 2021, we're starting to see those numbers go back up. And that's fantastic for a growing program, much like yours or a long-term program like we've seen here with some of these coaches who have been here for 10 plus, 15 plus years. Much like your counterpart at Flagstaff with Coach Haglin, who has been with that program for a very long time. But you mentioned this weekend, Coach, you guys on Saturday, that is September 25th, will be headed to the ASU Student Fitness Center for the Epics Tourney Volleyball Invite. In that invitational, Coach, you're going to see some teams you might be facing in the playoffs. Is it just more of a friendly tournament? What's the competition looking like this weekend?
No, I think there's definitely a lot of good competition. We just played Saguaro last night, and we're slotted to play them. I think our first game is to play them again on Friday. So that's exciting. It's definitely, tournaments are a really good way for us to grow quickly and see a lot of different types of competition, be able to see people outside of our region. But honestly, this year is just totally different from last year. Last year, we were just talking about this as coaches. I had a freshman ask me, how many games did we play last year? And last year we only got to see our section. We we only played about 14 games. We didn't get to go outside of that. And because, like you said, we had to take 2 weeks off. Right. And so, some other teams, thankfully, were able to be blessed with playing more last year. But we've only played 14, whereas this year it's like we're going to play the 21 that we're supposed to. And so it's even just been different as far as traveling. It's like, wow, I've kind of forgotten what it's like to travel down to Phoenix twice in 1 week. And this week it's 3 times because we went down Monday, Wednesday, and now Friday, Saturday. So it's exciting to be able to see teams that maybe we won't see in the future. And then even ones just to be able to know, like, what is Swirl like? Will they end up in the top, and will we see them again? And so it's definitely going to be good for us. I think we do better when it's packed in. It's kind of silly, but that's how it ended last year. And but it's definitely been nice to have practices in between games and not be able to just go game. So we're excited for the tournament, and we're excited for the rest of the season.
Well, just before we let you go, Coach, of course, also next week, the Panthers will be taking on Bradshaw Mountain High School on September 29th. Before we let you go, Coach, just real quick, what are you expecting from the Bears in that game? And again, that's on the 29th of September.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I love playing Bradshaw. Carrie Platt, the coach there, she's amazing. It's really nice when you can kind of feel at home somewhere. And, a couple of years ago, we had a scrimmage between them, Flag, and us. And just watching the girls we did like a barbecue after, and watching the girls hang out and do their TikToks and all that stuff with each other, all 3 teams together is really fun and exciting. And that's kind of that community that we've lost in the last couple of years. So I think it'll be really fun to go and see them. And, that whole team, we've just never had like a really bitter game with them. It's always been really honest and good competition. And I know they're going to be competitors. They've been building a program, like you're saying, and I've seen it even in the last 2 years, I've seen them grow. And so I'm excited. I'm nervous. I always get nervous before the games. I'm nervous for the girls. And so, but they're going to be great competition. I'm excited to see Carrie and see the whole team.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you again. Coconino High School girls volleyball coach Serena Wallace, thank you very much for coming back on the show. Safe travels this weekend. Safe travels to Bradshaw. Best of luck on the season going forward. And I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us off the bench. We'll be right back.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Cottonwood Parks and Recreation. I am joined now by Camp Verde High School football coach Rick Walsworth. Coach Walsworth, welcome onto the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Philip. I appreciate it.
Happy to have you along with us here. The Cowboys, a great start to the season, a solid victory over Valley Lutheran. Senior Caden Bogus has really been phenomenal for you, and we'll talk a little bit about his use in the offense in just a little bit, but in that game against Valley Lutheran, exploded for 173 yards on 15 carries in that win. First and foremost, Coach, I mean, how did it feel to get back onto the field? I know last year was a little bit hectic for you guys, but how did it feel to get back out there on Friday night?
It was great, and especially to be back starting on time and to get to start at home. And we've got a really good senior group this year, and we've got 5 guys that are 4-year seniors, and just really hoping that, I mean, that was a good kickoff to the season for those guys.
Yeah, great kickoff and well. You guys come back the week after. I know turnovers and penalties kind of hurt you guys in that game against Holbrook. Can you kind of take me through what the week in practice was after that game?
The week in practice after that was probably the best week we've had. The kids realized we weren't really focused very well the week before, and we talk all the time about we can't beat ourselves, and we've had 3 turnovers in 4 games, and all 3 of them were in that game. So we put ourselves in some bad situations, and we didn't take advantage of opportunities that we had, and I feel like that was kind of a wake-up call for us, hopefully.
Well, it definitely was a wake-up call because, Coach, you guys bounced back the week after an incredible victory against Trivium Prep. Your senior quarterback, Jacob I'm going to mess up his name, Othuro? Othau. Anyway, Jacob Othau, thank you very much, Coach. Really been getting it done with his legs throughout the entire season. 179 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns in that game against Trivium Prep. How comfortable is Jacob feeling now in his 4th year running this offense?
Yeah, I mean, we've got 2 senior quarterbacks that have they've taken a lot of snaps in their high school career, and they really both do a really good job of distributing the ball. And I mean, that's their job in our offense is they're really servant leaders. They're not going to be the star all the time. They've got to get the ball to the right guy. And that was his night to have the ball a lot. And he did a really good job. And I mean, we call him Superman sometimes because, I mean, he can make some amazing plays, and that was just a really big night for him. We had a 2-minute offensive situation where we were backed up at our 20, and we were up 2 scores, and we were getting the ball coming out second half, so we weren't trying to push anything. And he broke off an 81-yard touchdown run, and I was like, "Oh, that's the best 2 minutes offense I've ever seen." I think so.
Well, and also gives you an opportunity to sort of, practice your 2-minute offense in games where it's a little bit closer than that. I mean, of course, when you guys are up big, you don't want to break off for any big runs. You're not passing the ball in that instance, but it does give you an opportunity to sort of work on things. So a positive coming out of that, of course, outside of the 81-yard rushing touchdown, but really gives you guys an opportunity to work on some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, we were field position wise, we were pinned down, and we weren't trying to expose ourselves, especially with us getting the ball the second half. So it just happened that their defense relaxed a little bit, and then, I mean, he broke off that huge run. So,
Coach, you guys come back again in a victory against Heritage Academy, then focused your attention against Page. The ground game, like I mentioned, has been phenomenal so far for your team. Along with Bogus and Othuro, you've got Garrett Delaney and Samuel Williamson. Matthew Neckville have also attributed on the ground as well. What can you attribute to this success that you've seen with this rushing attack?
Well, I mean, that's what we hang our hat on, Philip. We're a flexbone team, like Army, Navy, Air Force, those schools. And all those guys that you named they're all seniors. So most of those guys have been playing in the offense for 3 to 4 years, except for Sam. He's the only junior. But yeah, I mean, we've got 5 guys that are averaging over 6 yards a carry. We've got 5 guys that have their longest runs are over 40 yards. So, I mean, people talk about it not being a big play offense, but we've had quite a few big plays this year. So,
yeah, some very, very big plays. I mean, like I said, that week 1, 15 carries, 173 yards for Bogus. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. You and I joked a little bit before the interview got started talking about the University of Nebraska or Arkansas. I know you're a graduate of Arkansas, and sort of their big 3 of running backs of Darren McFadden and Felix Jones and Peyton Hillis. You kind of have that. I mean, you technically add one more guy, but you kind of have that in your offensive scheme with your running backs, along with your quarterback that can run as well. I mean, how much versatility does that provide when you've got a quarterback who is essentially a running back who can throw?
Well, it's great. I mean, anytime the quarterback's not just handing the ball off, you've got a numbers advantage on the defense. And so, I mean, with our guys being a major part of our rushing attack, that it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And I mean, really, they've got to kind of pick what they're going to stop. Like I said, week one, they let our fullbacks rush for almost 300 yards combined between the three of them. And so then the next 2 weeks, everybody was shutting the fullback down. And then Jake rushes for almost 200 yards at the quarterback spot. And then we had a slot that week that had 5 carries for 98 yards. And so it's kind of pick your poison. And then last week it was bag 2. They let Caden go 12 carries for 213. So it's hard. It's going to be difficult for anybody to stop all 3. I mean,
yeah, very much so, Coach. And I mean, when you guys get an opportunity as well to air out the ball a little bit more, I mean, that just adds in another dynamic to your offense. I know you guys are more utilizing the run game a little bit more here, but you do have some kids with some statistics in terms of the receiving. But like I said, when you've got a strong run game, I mean, the possibilities for opening up the passing game are always there. But, Coach, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, I mean, and we like to throw. We want to try to throw for big plays. I mean, that's our thing. I mean, we don't want to nickel and dime in the passing game. And when you're getting 6 yards of carry with a lot of those guys, it's hard to risk taking a sack, which is that. I mean, that's my biggest. We talk about no negative yardage plays in our offense, and I mean, if we're making positive yards running the ball, I don't trust us to always get that done throwing the ball. It definitely helps the offense when we can throw for big plays, and we do need to work on that some more. And I mean, we've had a lot of years in the past where we threw for over 1,000 yards, and we'll hopefully be able to get some more of that done.
Again, we are speaking with Camp Verde High School football coach Rick Walsworth. Coach, where's an area you would like to see this team improve in? You're getting ready for region play coming up this week. Where would you like to see this team improve in?
Well, we talk all the time about going out every day and practice and getting better in every rep, and just not wasting any days and not wasting any time at practice. We're going to probably be hosting the number 1 or 2 team in the state in 2 weeks. So, I mean, that's going to really be a good test to see where we're at. And that's not to look past Page or Kingman Academy, but my guys have played Parker when they were freshmen and sophomores, the seniors have. So they know what they're up against in that game. And that's a big region game. I mean, if you want to win the region, you're going to have to beat those guys. So.
Coach, the past couple seasons, you took over in 2018. This team is really starting to pick it up here in 2021. Like I mentioned, a bit of a tough year in 2020 with everything going on. But here in 2021, Coach, you guys are really finding your stride going forward. I mean, I just want to ask, do you think this program is ready for a deep run? You talked a little bit about the playoffs coming up very soon here. But I mean, who or what has sort of sparked this explosion of offensive production for Camp Verde this season?
Well, I mean, we've got, like I said, we've got a really good senior group. And a lot of those guys have been around at least 3 years. We've got 5 who've been 4-year guys. They were on the field a ton as freshmen because we had a really small senior class. The first year they came into high school. And I mean, those guys have really worked their tails off, especially in the weight room. Talk about Bogus and Othau and Delaney. I mean, those guys are weight room beasts. I mean, that's how they've made themselves into the players that they are. I mean, they work really hard and take pride in it.
Shifting focus here a little bit, Coach, you're obviously not you're very familiar with the Verde Valley, having coached at Mingus Union High School for a very long time under Coach Bob Young, and also for a short stint at Sedona before taking the job at Camp Verde in 2018. I just want to ask, throughout those years, who's been kind of an inspiration for you as coaching? It doesn't have to be even during then. What's just kind of inspired you in general to get into this profession?
Oh, I mean, I think it all started with my high school coaches. I mean, back in Arkansas in the 90s. I mean, starting at Mingus with Coach Young in 2003 and Coach Dixon, just having the opportunity to work with those guys and get to know those guys and be friends with those guys. I mean, I've talked to both of them already today. So about their game tonight and our game. And it was a great opportunity to learn and to just work under those guys.
Coach, I get an opportunity to do play-by-play with Nick Yatsenko. And he tells me a story a little bit of when Tony Vaca was being the quarterback at Mingus Union. You obviously were the offensive coordinator at that time. What was it like to play with what was it like to coach that group of guys? I mean, I get it. I've gotten a chance to meet those guys now when they're a little bit older, but what I've heard some stories. So I just want to ask just kind of briefly, I mean, what was it like getting an opportunity to coach that group?
That group was great. They were seniors in '08, so that they graduated in '09. So, I mean, Tony was our quarterback in '07 as a junior when we lost in the state championship to Notre Dame. I still talk to Tony pretty regularly. Anytime Ohio State gets upset by somebody, because he's a big Ohio State guy. So, it was a lot of fun and really enjoyable to coach those guys. A really good group of guys.
Yeah, very much so. But Coach, shifting back focus here to your time with Camp Verde, you guys get your first region matchup here against Kingman Academy coming up on September 30th. What are you expecting from the Tigers in this game? And what's going to be the focus in practice this week?
Well, our focus, and we started talking about this after Holbrook, our focus has to be us. I mean, we're playing ourselves every Friday night. We can't beat ourselves. So that's going to continue to be the focus. We've got to do the things that we need to do. And like I said, we've got to eliminate the turnovers. We've got to eliminate the pre-snap penalties on offense. We've got to keep our defense in good position to be successful. And our varsity defense under Coach Darby has been knocking it out. I mean, I think our varsity D's given up about 9 points a game so far. We've given up some touchdowns late in a couple of those games with younger guys in the game, but we're trying to keep all our playmakers on the field on defense, and that's why that's one reason the ball is getting spread around so much on offense, because we're resting all of our linebackers and DBs. We're resting those guys on offense, so there's a lot of touches.
Coach, before we let you go, I'd like to talk a little bit about the JV team as well and the development down there. How are things looking at the lower levels, and how are you attracting more kids to the program?
We've got 2 JV games on the schedule. We played a couple of weeks ago, and they had a really good experience. Trivium Prep came up. They actually don't even have a JV budget for travel. They had parents drive some kids up because the head coach and I at Trivium and I are good friends. And so we had a bunch of young guys that we needed to get some playing time on the field. So we hooked that game up, and I think it was a great experience for those guys. We had a couple guys score their first touchdowns ever, and
very cool.
Really good feelings. And then we've got another one coming up in 2 weeks that we're looking forward to, and just keep trying to build that excitement. So,
any guys down there that you're excited to possibly get the opportunity to coach next season?
Well, I mean, our varsity coaches coach all our JV guys too. Okay. So our numbers are such that we're all together a lot of the time. So that's just a great group overall. I'm a really good bunch of kids, and I'm looking forward to having those guys in the future.
Yeah, that's great. Like you said, these kids are getting an opportunity to play at the JV level and get some experience and score their first high school football touchdown, and get to just build and continue to build that excitement for next season and the possibility of playing up at the varsity level with you. Just real quick, Coach, again, how are you getting more kids to come out and play football?
I mean, honestly, football is not for everybody. I mean, football is a tough sport, and especially what we do offensively. I mean, it's unselfish. I mean, there's only one football, and only one guy's going to have it. We really work on trying to recruit more linemen to come out because our offense is based on our offensive line. I mean, we've got our center, Corey Johnson, is a 4-year. He's one of our 4-year seniors. And Rogelio Carrillo, he's a 3-year senior right next to him at guard. And then we got a couple of juniors and a sophomore starting up front. But it's like, I mean, our fullbacks have had some really huge games. And when our fullbacks have big games, it's on the back of our O-line. And, I mean, those guys are really important for us. And so those numbers are the ones that we try to push up. It's usually pretty easy to find guys who want to get to carry the ball and do that kind of stuff. But it's hard to find kids that want to do the dirty work and the hard work anymore. So,
yes. And Coach, it's been a solid season so far for Camp Verde. You guys are continuing that momentum, like I mentioned in the game. next week on September 30th to take on the Kingman Academy Tigers in first region game of the match of the season this year. Coach, I know you're excited to get going, and I want to thank you very much for coming on and talking with us about the Camp Verde Cowboys. And we're excited to see how the rest of the season plays out, and it's going to be an exciting finish.
Yeah, it is. We're looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, Philip.
Well, thank you very much, Coach, and best of luck going forward. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Coconino High School golf coach Langley Martin right here on Off the Bench. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle. Get Gettles.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
Welcome back to Off the Bench, Northern Arizona Prep Sports, presented by Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services and Gettle's High Desert Mechanical. I am joined now by Coconino High School golf coach Langley Martin. Coach Martin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, happy to have you. The season's is kicked off here for the Coconino Panthers out on the golf course. But Coach, I just wanted to get an opportunity to talk a little bit about your background. You got an opportunity to play golf at Troy University in the Sun Belt Conference. Can we just talk a little bit about your experiences getting the opportunity to play Division I golf at Troy?
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I started playing golf pretty late. So I actually started my sophomore year of high school and then stopped all my other sports and started solely focusing on golf. And I was able to get good enough, quick enough to get recruited, and luckily get to play at Troy University, an incredible school. It was only 3 hours from my hometown in Pensacola, Florida. We were able to win the conference championships my junior and senior year. I was able to be the conference player of the year my senior year. My brother also played on the men's team for 2 years while I was playing. So that was a really, really awesome experience. And just to get to travel the country and play so many different golf courses.
You talk about starting golf a little bit late in high school. I mean, what kind of, caused you to focus solely on golf later on in your high school career?
I actually had an autoimmune disorder, and I was playing other sports, and my doctors were telling me that the impact wasn't good for me, and I needed to either stop sports or pick another one, and golf was the one that I could do, and it's brought me so many opportunities, and so happy that I have it in my life.
Well, Coach, after graduation, I know you got the opportunity to go study at Northern Arizona University, and you earned your master's in educational leadership. What kind of brought you to the Flagstaff area outside, of course, of the educational aspect of it? But, actually, why NAU? Why come up here to Northern Arizona?
So I knew I wanted to coach in college golf, and I was able to receive a graduate assistant position at NAU. So I was the assistant coach with Brad Bedortha for 3 years as I was earning my master's degree. But as a Florida girl, I always loved the mountains. My family would go on ski trips growing up, and I wanted to try to go somewhere that I could golf and ski in the same city, and Flagstaff turned out to be the spot.
Well, what a perfect combination it was. Of course, after that, you do get the opportunity, like you said, to coach at Northern Arizona University. You took a brief pause there to, just take a break from coaching, and you got the opportunity where you're at now to teach 7th and 8th grade physical education at Sonawa Middle School. And now this season, your first year coaching high school golf at Coconino High School. What made you want to return to coaching the sport?
Oh, I missed it. I think I definitely needed a break after playing 4 years of college and then going straight into college coaching, just getting a little burnout on the schedule. But I had 3 years of teaching and playing golf and, teaching just friends and things like that. And I just was missing the team atmosphere and really being able to help our community. And there was an opening and I just kind of felt that calling. And I'm so, so happy that I did.
Again, we were speaking with Coconino High School golf coach Langley Martin. Coach, you step into the program your first year here at Coconino High School. What plans do you have for the program going forward?
Well, I'm really happy with what has happened so far in the last month and a half. I was hired to be the boys coach, and I had 6 girls show up to tryouts, and we didn't have a girls team, and I was not going to not have that. So we started a girls team, which is incredible for the first time at Coconino High School to have a girls team. And we were able to get in through the AIA on the very last date to make our team solidified within the state and create a schedule. And I've been able to manage coaching both the girls and the boys, so traveling with both of them. And I think that's a huge success to be able to have a girls team this year. So that's my first success. And then looking forward, I think just growing the program. If we can have a couple students every year coming in as freshmen and continue to have them go through 4 years throughout the program, it will grow. So that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, and I want to bounce off that just a little bit more, Coach. I mean, like you said, you establish a girls program now at Coconino High School. How do you kind of go about, not recruiting, but, sort of attracting more kids to come out and play golf? How do you sort of approach that?
I think by word of mouth from the kids. I think if I do my job and I'm the best coach that I can be, they're going to tell their friends, hey, come join the golf team and come have fun with Coach Martin. And I think that's a great way to do it. I think another way is just to be involved in the community and for people to know that there is a girls golf team. There is a boys golf team. There's no tryouts. Everybody's welcome to come. So I think more than anything, just word of mouth and doing the best that I can do.
The Panthers, of course, started their season at Verde Santa Fe Golf Club as a meet hosted by Mingus Union High School. How did that first match go, Coach? And I mean, how did you feel afterwards? You get to sort of cross that off the bucket list of your first varsity coaching golf game. A horrible way to phrase that, but I mean, how did that first match go?
Well, it was great. I was able to get the van. I was able to get it gassed up. I took the girls and the boys down. They both were competing that day. That was the day in Flagstaff that we had the huge flood. So we were really excited to be down in Mingus. And we got 8 holes in and we were doing really well. And then the storm hit us down in at Verde Santa Fe or it's Agave Highlands now. And so we didn't get to count it. We had to stop after 8 holes. But it was a huge learning experience. It was a success. Everything worked out. We learned our lessons and we moved on. So that first meet was kind of fun, like a trial run, kind of like a scrimmage that didn't count.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate the way, of course, that it ended out because you guys didn't get a chance to finish the rest of the match. But of course, you always want to be safe with these monsoonal storms. They always love to bring some lightning with them. But Coach, I do want to ask a little bit more. You kind of hinted at it a little bit, some stuff you've learned after that first match. We're pretty deep into the season at this point. How have you grown as a coach from your first match to where you are now?
I think more than anything, just getting to know the kids really well and learning what makes them tick, what allows each student, each player to be their best on the golf course, kind of learning their mental game, learning their personalities, learning what allows them to excel and what might get under their skin. As a coach, I think you're just a facilitator and giving them the best atmosphere where they can perform. And then, behind the scenes, working on things at practice, that putting, working on chipping, working on strategy, working on course management. I think that's just what you are as a coach, is giving them the best tools to be able to succeed.
Coach, I do want to ask here, you guys obviously have played multiple meets so far this season. How do you kind of prepare your team for multi-team meets? Obviously, golf, more individualistic sport. You're kind of competing. Well, as you are, of course, you're competing as a whole, but more realistically, of course, you are competing as individuals as well. So, I mean, how do you prepare your team for multiple team meets?
I think more than anything, you've got to get to know your players. You have to know them individually. You have to know their strengths, their weaknesses, where they are mentally, where they are physically. I think that's the biggest thing as a coach, is truly getting to know what allows them to play their best golf, what helps their nerves, what you can work on in practice a couple of days before. We've been working on short game a lot, and that has really been improving, which is exciting to see. We've been working on more consistent chips, like bump and runs, rather than trying to hit the higher shots. So that's kind of as a whole. But I think more than anything, really just getting to know the players and what allows them to play their best golf.
Okay. You do have a few returners to the program, more, of course, on the side of the boys team, because the boys program has been around for a little bit longer than the girls side. You do welcome in a senior in Aaliyah Harrison on the side of the girls program. I just want to ask, how have those returning players helped you in your first season coaching the program?
So on the girls side, Aaliyah, she's our senior. She's an incredible leader. She's more of a silent leader. She's very quiet, but she always shows up. She's always doing what she needs to do. And she's really taken the younger players under her wing. And I think they truly look up to her. And she just kind of leads by action, which is really awesome and really nice to have as someone on your team. And then on the boys side, we have Connor Callahan, Jackson Hammond, and Jackson Gray. And those are our three juniors that have been to every single match. They're kind of our top three players. And they are true leaders. They really rally in the troops. They set up tee times on the weekends to get people to come play with them outside of practice time. They give the kids rides to and from practice and to matches. They are the epitome of leaders.
Yeah. And it's good for you. I mean, like I mentioned, you come in with your first season, while you do, of course, bring in a lot of leadership skills yourself, being, somebody who not only has played Division I athletics, but has also coached Division I athletics. It's nice to have those returners there to sort of, establish what they've gone through these past 2 years or 3 years, depending on how long they've been there. And now you kind of come in with some people who sort of know the landscape. They know the teams they usually play against. They know some of the kids who are coming back. And like I said, it sort of, in a few ways, it maybe helps a little bit for you. Like you mentioned, just having those strong leaders on the team to sort of pick up where, you can't be everywhere at once, but you kind of have those leaders to sort of pick up where you left off.
Definitely. Coming in, I had to learn everything new. Luckily, even the flag high coach reached out to me this summer and set up a meeting, and he kind of showed me the ropes some, which I thought was really nice of him. But having those leaders on the team is great. I'm able to split them up when we're playing and, say, can you help the younger kids on these certain aspects today? And they're totally open and willing to do that. So that's been an incredible, positive on our team to have such great leadership.
Along, of course, with the returners comes a few new faces as well to the program. You got a handful of freshmen this year, a couple on the boys' side, and I think one or two on the girls' side to start out the season. What have you liked from your younger new faces?
Oh my gosh, I love them. They're amazing. They're showing up with incredible attitudes. Their work ethic is there. They're gung-ho and willing to work hard. They're accepting of, maybe not making the starting five all the time, but they're pushing themselves. And we did have a freshman play in one of our matches last week. He played his way into the top five with a playoff hole, which was pretty exciting. So yeah, they're doing great. They show up every day. They're working their hardest. They're learning as much as they can, and they're going to be the future of the program.
Yeah, very much so. Coach, I do want to ask, just kind of deviate a little bit, but, who's coming out for golf for you guys? Is it a lot of, like I said, you've obviously got a few returners, but some of those newer faces, are they dual sport athletes? Are they just sole golfers? What kind of talent's coming out and playing golf?
We've actually had a lot of our new players just picked up the game of golf during the year of COVID with their parents, which is kind of cool. new to the game. So they're very impressionable, which is really awesome, kind of a clean slate to work with. So that's been really neat, and to see a lot of improvement quickly. So that's really been fun. Most of our seniors, or most of our upperclassmen, they're dual to 3-sport athletes, which I think is really, really awesome.
Yeah, it definitely brings a different perspective. And like you said, a lot of these kids getting a chance to golf during the pandemic, which, I mean, of course, is still going on. But a really easy sport to socially distance is golf, because you're not usually right on top of everybody. But how do you kind of approach, Coach? But I just got a couple questions before we go away here. But I got a question here. Just kind of how do you approach a new golfer? Like you said, while these kids come in with a little bit of experience, you do have some real new faces to the game. You yourself have been an instructor. Like I said, you've coached at the Division I level. You've played at that level as well. How do you sort of approach a new golfer?
I think start with the basics and make sure it stays fun. Golf is a really hard game and can become really frustrating. And as a new golfer, it can be a pretty daunting game. So I think starting out with things that they can do and things that they are good at. So maybe starting out with half shots, starting out with chips, starting out with putting. When they do go play, kind of make a set of rules for them. Play the tees that they need to play. It doesn't have to be based off your gender. It can be based off your skill level. So I think just kind of modifying everything so that they feel success, they see success, and they're still having fun.
I'll tell you what, Coach, the closest I get to golf is these polos, and I'm really, really bad at golf. I'm definitely somebody who is not afraid to step up to either gender lines to shoot a ball, because I'm loving me some par threes. But when we get to the par fives, I'm hooking balls. They're going into the country club. They're going to the houses. It's just, I'm spraying everywhere. I'm really, really bad at golf. But thankfully, I don't play for Coconino High School, because I'd be absolutely terrible. But the kids who are out on the course are phenomenal. They are led, of course, by my guest, Coconino High School golf coach Langley Martin. Coach Martin is in her first season coaching both the girls and the boys program as well. Coach, looking forward to the schedule here next week. Both teams will be on the road. The girls will be playing on September 27th. The boys will be playing on September 28th. That is a Monday and Tuesday, respectively, of next week. You've seen a couple of the teams you're playing against, Mingus, Page. How are you feeling just going into that match? How are you preparing the team? And what's been the focus in practice this week?
I feel great going into into our matches this week. Every team that we're playing this week, we've played in the past and we've had success against. So that's a good feeling. Just continuing to sharpen our skills. Today, we're going to have an hour and a half solely short game practice. And then so, working on our short game, that's something that can always use more progress.
Are you I want to ask though, just before we really let you go here, the short game, I want to ask, what's more important, your short game or your putt game?
Well, usually putting is kind of considered part of short game. So I think chipping and putting together cumulatively is the most important part, but you could say putting, it's the last part. If you can get the ball in the hole in one putt, it's going to be better than two.
But if you can get it in one shot, you're probably one of the greatest golfers of all time. But for me, the short game is the long game, which is the median game. All of it's the same to me. I'm losing balls regardless. So, well, thank you very much for coming on the show this week, Coach. I'd like to thank all my guests, of course, Coconino High School girls volleyball coach Serena Wallace, Verde High School football coach Rick Walsworth, and of course, Coconino High School golf coach Langley Martin. That is going to do it for this episode of Off the Bench. I'm your host, Philip Katafamo, wishing you a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again next time.